Hello bass players, Alex here with step-by-step bass lessons. Today I'm going to share with you the same 5 rules that I teach my students on how to master your left hand technique. We're going to look for power and control with as much efficiency as possible. In the second half of the lesson today, I'm going to give you some specific exercises to start putting these rules into practice right away. If you like this lesson today and you want to see more, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. Now all you need for this is a bass and some basic knowledge of right hand technique. If you haven't seen my video on right hand technique and you'd like to check it out, I'll put a link for you right there. In the meantime, plug in, tune up, and let's get started. Rule number 1 is fingers parallel to the frets. This means that when we grab the neck with the left hand, we want to see the fingers running in the same direction that the frets are. We don't want to see this, where we're shortening our reach and decreasing the amount of pressure and the control that we have over the instrument. We want to have the hand drop down like this. See those fingers running up and down the frets this way. So do this with me. Drop your hand, bring it back up, and grab the neck. Very, very natural. If you find your fingers running this way, you want to drop that wrist, bring it closer to the floor, have a nice constant curve right there. So the arm comes out, the wrist, the hand, and your fingers are parallel to the frets. Rule number 2 is put your finger right behind the fret. Remember, in the bass world, this is down, so that's where our lower notes are coming from. That's up, that's where our higher notes are coming from. So when I say behind the fret, I mean to this side of the fret. So we're going to put our finger on the 5th fret of the E string, right behind the fret. Not on top of it, where you get a buzz. Not behind it, where you also get a buzz, but right behind the fret. This is the ideal place to put your finger. Again, if you put your finger too far back behind the fret, you could get a buzz. But of course you could fix that by just squeezing harder. Now one problem with that is I don't want to work any harder than I have to. I want to be efficient and powerful. I don't want to be pushing down really, really hard, fighting with my notes when it's not necessary. The other problem is that you can actually pull this note out of tune by pushing it down too hard. So here's my A. You hear that? You hear it bending? So I'm actually able to bend the note out of tune, which is not what I want, by pushing down too hard. So your finger should be right behind the fret. Rule number 3 is fingers fall to the string. This is one of the more challenging techniques that a player will typically struggle with. It's very, very important, and it's one of the things that you can do probably to get the most efficiency out of your instrument. Though if you were to do one thing to get more efficiency and more power and more control from your instrument, this is probably going to be it. When I play the 5th fret on my E string, I just use my first finger. There's no other fingers required. When I add my 2nd finger, I want to do that. I want to add the 2nd finger. I don't want to let the first finger float up here. I want to keep control over the instrument by letting my fingers be on the strings pretty much at all times, or at least very close to the strings. I'm going to add my 3rd finger now. Same thing. I'm not going to let these first 2 fingers float up. I call that balloons on the fingers. No balloons on the fingers. Let the fingers follow the string. When you play the 4th fret, the 4th finger, 8th fret in this case, you are going to add that finger. Again, if you're just starting out, get yourself started off on the right foot. Really, really take this slow, play this right. Develop this technique so that you won't have problems with it later on. And I want to ask you, which looks more powerful? This or this? This or this? Which looks like I have more control over my instrument? 3rd finger with these fingers flared out like this, or 3rd finger with these 2 assisting behind it? So 1st finger by itself, add the 2nd finger, add the 3rd finger, add the 4th finger. Let your fingers fall to the string. Rule number 4 is maintain your reach. If I'm assigning 1 finger per fret, then I have my 1st finger on the 5th fret all the way up to my 4th finger on the 8th fret. And what I want to do is when I reach for that 4th finger, when I reach that 8th fret in this case, I don't want that 1st finger to be creeping up. I want to maintain the placement of that first finger. So you notice this whole time my first finger is staying relatively in the same spot. What I don't want to see is this, because then you lose control over the instrument. You have to reach back to get that 5th fret again. Oh, I gotta reach back to get the 5th fret, right? Oh, I didn't maintain my reach, I gotta reach back to get the 5th fret. That's not what we're looking for. Maintain your reach. When you assign one finger per fret, keep it that way. Now, in case you feel like you're never going to be able to reach the frets that you need to reach, you will. Wherever you're at with your instrument, you'll be able to develop that reach. So if where we're playing is too hard for you today, move up the neck a little bit, where the frets get closer together. As you continue to play, your reach will continue to develop. Again, wherever you're at, it will only get better, I promise you. I always see bass players amaze themselves when their reach starts to develop and they go, hey, I can hit those notes now. You'll be able to hit those notes too. And we've saved the best for last. This 5th and final rule is what really separates a bass player, a true bass player, from a guitar player who just happens to have a bass in their hands that day. Let's check it out. Rule number 5 is play in a closed position whenever possible. I'm going to call this an open position, where I've spanned to assign one finger per fret. I'm covering 4 frets with 4 fingers. If I'm playing in a closed position, I'm going to decrease my reach there, and I'm going to cover only 3 frets with the same 4 fingers. And I'm going to use finger 1, finger 2, and finger 3 and 4 together. So we've been playing up until now in an open position. We can go ahead and play in an open position if there's a reason to. If I'm playing frets 5 and 7, there's really no reason to go to an open position. This actually takes a little bit more strain, and it's taking away from my ability to play a smooth line just a little bit. Now, we want to be able to play in an open position, of course, but if I don't need to, I'm going to give myself a break and make it a closed position. I want you to play in a closed position whenever possible. When is it not possible to play in a closed position? Well, if I want to reach that 8th fret in this bass line, then that's reasonable. That's a good reason for me to reach for that 8th fret with the 4th finger. If I'm doing 5 and 7, there's no reason for me to use that 3rd finger there. I'm just creating some extra strain in my arm, and I'm taking away from my playing ever so slightly. But if I'm going to reach for that 8th fret, then sure. Now there's a good reason. As we move way up the neck here, at some point you're going to find that it's really kind of silly to try and squeeze these fingers in there. And so at some point we're going to go ahead and let that 4th finger just hang out, and we'll constantly be in an open position. But especially down in the lower regions of the neck here, we do want to be in a closed position whenever possible. Now that you know the rules, let's look at some exercises to help you master them. Once you have, you'll be able to move on to future lessons with ease and confidence. Exercise 1 is using all fingers in a closed position. We're going to play, again, the 5th fret on the E string, 1st finger. We're going to add the 2nd finger to the 6th fret, and we're going to add 3rd and 4th fingers together to the 7th fret. We're going to go up in quarter notes, so 1 note per beat, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to hold an extra beat for that last note. And then we're going to go back, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go to the next string, and we're going to do the same thing all the way up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to focus on all the rules here. Focus on keeping your fingers parallel to the fret. Focus on keeping your finger right behind the fret to hold down the note. Focus on letting the fingers fall to the string. This is very important. Don't let the fingers flare out. No balloon fingers. Focus on maintaining your reach, which is generally pretty easy in a closed position, which brings me to number 5. Focus on staying in a closed position. Okay, 4 clicks and we're in. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Finger 1, finger 2, finger 3, and 4 together and back. 4, Next string. 1, 2, finger 3 and 4 together. 4 and 2 and 1. Oh yeah, next string. 1, 2, 3 and 4 together. We're rocking out now. Yes. And we're out. Good job. Exercise 2. Using all fingers in an open position. This is just like the previous exercise, but instead we're going to go to an open position and we're going to use all 4 of our fingers individually. So we're going to span 4 frets this time instead of just 3. We're going to play the first finger on the 5th fret again. We're going to play the second finger on the 6th fret, then the 3rd finger, then the 4th finger. We're not going to wait on beat 4 because this is going to be beat 4. So we're going to hit that note again and come back down. Then you change to the next string. So again, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to really focus this time on all the same rules, except we're not going to be staying in a closed position. We're going to be staying in an open position, covering 4 frets. But I do want you to put a little extra focus on maintaining that reach. So make sure that finger is behind that 5th fret at all times. Keep that first finger back there. Keep an eye on that guy. Don't let him creep up this way. We're going to hear 4 clicks and we're in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next string. 1, 2, 3, 4 and back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rocking out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're out. How'd that feel? I want you to notice any tendencies that you have, and if you see yourself making the same mistakes or tending to do the same thing that you're not intending to do over and over, pay attention to that. Focus on that. Work on that. Turn off the click. Turn off the drums. Just focus on what you need to work on. Exercise 3 is changing strings in a closed position. We're going to add a new technique here that's not one of our official 5 rules, but it's very, very important, and I want you to make sure that you master this. We're going to play this pattern up and down the bass. So again, we're playing in a closed position, only frets 5 and 7 the whole way, and we're going to look at what happens when you are changing strings in this pattern. When I play the 5th fret by itself with the first finger, and then I play the 7th fret, I'm adding all of my fingers. Fingers are falling to the string. No balloon fingers. I need to get to the 5th fret of the next string before I'm done here. So I'm going to call this the leading finger. He's going to lead the way to the next string and get ready to play it before we're actually done playing this note. So here's what this looks like. We play the 5th fret, we play the 7th fret. First finger picks up, he takes off, he's got a job to do. He's going to go ahead and push that fret down, and the same time he pushes that fret down, we're going to release these and play that string. Do that with me. Play the 5th fret. Play the 7th fret. Pick up the first finger, send him over to the next string, push down on that string, lift up on these, and hit the string all at the same time. You got that? And here's the exercise. We're going to play the 5th fret and the 7th fret. One beat for each one on each string. We're going to do it again on our high string and then go down. Then we're going to reverse that. We're going to play the 4th finger, the 1st finger, 7th fret, 5th fret, 4th finger, 1st finger, 7th fret, 5th fret. So the exact opposite. Then we're going to go again, hitting the G again and making our way down. When we play it backwards this time, we're going to have the exact same dilemma that we had before, which is we'll have to send a leading finger over. Here's what that looks like. I'm going to play the 7th fret with all 4 fingers down. I'm going to play the 5th fret just with my first finger. Now, these fingers aren't busy, so it's a little easier to send them over, but at the same time they press down, I release this finger. First finger now comes over and plays the 5th fret. I send these 3 over. These 3 alone press down that 7th fret, then the first finger comes over. So before, the first finger was coming over early when we played the 5th fret to the 7th fret and then changed to the 5th fret. We had to send that finger over just a little bit early. So now, the first finger is going to stay just a little bit late to finish his job. When we play the 7th fret down to the 5th fret, he's going to stay there while these 3, all 3 of them, go over. As soon as we push down on this string and play with the right hand, we're going to release that first finger. Okay, 4 clicks and we're in. 2, 3, 4. Send the first finger over. Send the first finger over. Send it over. Same thing. Send the first finger early. Send him early. Let him lead the way. Backwards. 4 to 1. 4 to 1. Send everybody over. Send everybody over. Backwards. And we're out. Well done. For our 4th and final exercise, we're going to work on changing strings in an open position. For the previous exercise, we were changing strings in a closed position, and we do love to be in a closed position, but for this one, we're going to go ahead and expand our reach to 1 finger per fret, covering 4 frets with 4 fingers. Same exercise, except we're going to reach over to fret 8, not to fret 7. So, again, just like exercise 2, I want you to focus on maintaining that reach. So above all, maintain that reach and work on sending that leading finger or fingers over early. Here we go. You know what to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Send the first finger over early. Again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Send the first finger over early when you need to. Backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Send all fingers over right now and right now. And one last time. Yes! Well done. I have a confession to make. There's nothing actually magical about these exercises. Now, they were designed by me for you to take these rules that we've learned today and to work on them specifically without clouding them up with scales and chords and other more musical type things. But only you know what you need in your bass playing. I want you to play these exercises, I want you to get really good at them, but I also want you to switch it up. If it's too challenging, slow it down. Don't use a click track. Don't use a drum beat. Specifically focus on what it is that you need to work on. If it's not challenging enough, change it up a little bit. If you know how to play scales and you know how to play arpeggios, make up your own exercises that utilize those things. Take these techniques you're learning and play some music with them. Once you have put your time in for the day and you've improved your technique, make some music, man. It doesn't matter if you don't know any scales. It doesn't matter if you don't know what chords are yet. Just have some fun with your instrument. I want you to always be having fun when you play, and I want you to always make it about the music. Have I been saying that the whole time? Get tuned in, plug up. Let's start again. Stay tuned.